Hi Sloths, and welcome back to... I was just about to say Genshin Impact. Why was I about to say Genshin Impact? Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Welcome back to Ebon, not Genshin Impact. I have been playing that for the past 2 days though. I definitely see why everyone... Why do I have 10 Trin? The hell? That doesn't make any sense either. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I've been playing Genshin Impact for the past 1 a bit days. It's okay, I'm not very far into it. I'm gonna keep playing just a little bit longer. I'm not entirely sure about this, but it definitely seems inspired by like Breath of the Wild or something. The art style in particular is pretty much almost the exact same. Plus, you know, the whole gliding mechanic and the cooking mechanic definitely reminds me of Breath of the Wild. The monsters remind me of Breath of the Wild, but the slimes definitely are basically just choo-choos. Especially fire ones, they're just, you know, like... but anyway, I'm going off on quite a tangent. I don't know if you realise, but nothing here has even really changed all that much. Let's ignore Genshin Impact. I don't need to talk about that. Anyway, in the last episode we chose Haron sort of as our love interest, and here he is right there. We also went and bought some clothes, kind of. And I showed you a little bit of a, well, what I assume is a bit of a bug. But I have no idea. I haven't gone and asked the Discord about it yet. But it's such an obvious and big sort of bug that I'm pretty sure other people have noticed and told the creator about it. But anyway, let's get into the episode, I suppose. Mavis, do you believe my interest in you is disingenuous? I was a little unprepared for such a blunt and sudden question. It had just started to rain again, too. An entirely unimportant detail, but... No, of course it's not disingenuous. I know you love us. No, I think you're genuine in your interest. He looked relieved. Oh, good. Then there's no point in delaying the inevitable, Madrili. He reached for my hands. A terrible sound burst through all of my senses, and brought me instantly to my knees. The ringing remained long after the initial onslaught. It felt for a long time like I was trapped there, in some endless recoil even, consumed with the echoing sound, the pain, nothing else. Yet somehow, unknowingly, I opened my eyes. The world, the docks, momentarily unrecognizable. Completely and utterly destroyed. I could only stare at first. Mavis! His voice brought me out of my daze. I turned to see him on the ground beside me, blood pouring from his ears. Ugh, gross. Mavis! This time, as he called me, he pulled me into his arms just as another sound burst through the air. We both cried out and tucked into each other, as though that would do anything to keep us safe. It certainly did not stop the echo from worming its way into my ears. We seemed to stay that way for a long time, neither of us moving and the ringing growing, only slightly less intense as time went on. I became aware of how terribly hot it was. That's because the place is on fire. Just a bit. I felt him move and opened my eyes again. We have to go from here. I can't. Alright, make it stop. Make it stop. Just make it stop. Haron, my ears, make it stop. Come on. He helped me onto my feet and then held tightly to my arm. Oh, we're covered in blood as well. Great. The docks were in chaos, elves bleeding about the ears, some of which limping, crawling, scrambling away. Others remained in tight balls on the floor. What even happened? It was just random, some sort of explosion of sound. Guards from the city were beginning to head in toward the docks. There were fires burning amongst the shipping crates. What happened? I don't know. His voice was quiet and tense. He began to pull me faster. Dullier's estate was not far. When the door closed behind her and me, we both went still. Neither of us moved, frozen, trapped in bewildered recoil. I had no idea what to make of what just happened. It made no sense to me. That bloody stupid air freshener just ruined the whole moment then. The noise was such a foreign thing. The explosion had been so powerful and come from nowhere. It was difficult to gather my thoughts, difficult to snap out of the trance, to even clearly the hell is that banging? Sorry about that, I just could hear someone banging about. Like hammering something, I don't know. To even clearly recall what had happened, recent as it was, an effort of increasing difficulty with each passing second, I almost collapsed to the floor. Haran's voice piped through. The ringing is starting to fade. It had faded already for me. Are you hurt anywhere? His eyes searched over me. Or searched me over even. Yeah, can't you see that we're like covered in blood? I searched him over in kind. Blood still trickled from his ears, and he spoke too loudly, compensating for some difficulty hearing. If Els had more sensitive ears, I suppose it had somehow hurt him even more. I winced at the thought. What had happened, Haran? I heard desperation and confusion in my voice. Normally to be so vulnerable would churn my stomach, but how could it be helped? And Haran? I don't know. He continued to speak loudly, his eyes flicking back and forth to me in my own, and darting away. He spoke almost aggressively. I knew then that he was anticipating from me something that he would fight. And just as I began to wonder what... my brain just froze for a second, sorry about that. And just as I began to wonder what, it quickly dawned on me. Idiot. I began to fall, the strength in my legs blinking away in a breath. I did it. It was me, the No. He was determined catching me, pulling me to my feet, determined that I would not believe what I was quickly finding no way to deny. You didn't do this, Mavis. Of course I did. If not me, then what? What, Haran? Tell me what else that possibly could have... Even if it was a Cuthintal, you aren't responsible. You were just... I probably killed. How many were there at the docks? I've lost control. I've killed people. It's destroying me. I've lost control. I have no control over this. No dominion. This is not mine to master. It does as it pleases. I merely a conduit. And if it wants something from you today, you will see And if it wants something from you today, you will see that it is you who masters it tomorrow. You must realize that you are treading where no one else has. Even when he's being attacked by the Cuthintal, he still remains carried towards us and the Cuthintal. Every advance anyone has ever made came with missteps, slips of the grip. This is not a slip. I shook my head. I was just standing there. It crept up out nowhere. You mean out of nowhere? I wasn't prepared. I'm never alone. I wasn't alone. No, you were with me. He pulled me closer. Haran, how can you... You saw... There's nothing I can do to stop. I felt arms wrap around me tightly. He lifted me upwards till my feet were hovering above the floor. weightlessness. I held back a sob, only barely. This is all real. All of it is happening. It's not going away. No, it isn't. He spoke softly into my ear. But you will master it, and you won't be left alone with it. I'm here. Let me go, you can't stop it either. I'm scared, thank you. Let's go with I'm scared. I'm so scared, Haron. The dogs. I know. His voice was soft. It must be calming down now. I don't hear as much outside. It was a while longer before more showed up. First, Dollier opened the door. He was delicate about it, looking at the two of us in careful assessment. Eventually, all of my allies had assembled, which seemed strange to me, given what had just happened. Surely they had better places to be, families or duties to attend. I was not the only one to think it strange. And there we are all. Wait, what? Words just don't work. My brain is like dead right now. Oh dear. Bleh. I would have called you all if all... words, me can't read, I cannot talk, brain not working. I would have called you all if all of you were necessary. Would you? Our fate is tied up in hers, Dollier. You know what's going to happen now. We don't know, or we don't know who or what is at fault. Even if it was the doing of a Cuthintal, that doesn't mean the blame falls on Mavis. Oh, really? And is no one going to address this purple? She's not really responsible for being in the position he's in, is she? We are just talking. Everything seemed perfectly normal up the noise started. What? That's obviously incorrect. If I remember, I'll have to let them know about that. Was there an explosion? Unfortunately, most will draw the conclusion that she is responsible, and Garlois. I just realised I was doing like the wrong voice. Oh well, whatever. Be right. Bedin's face went sour as a quiet hiss escaped him. Ernal and Haron's expressions both contorted to match in apprehension. I expected he's already sent someone for her any minute now. Dollier. What? The room is... I know. Mavis? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Lacey's eyes shifted to the door, narrowing in suspicion. Haron caught my gaze and flashed me a bright smile. Just hold on, Madrily. Eventually you'll be so used to this dance, it'll get boring. Nothing is boring about this. Only because it's new. I shot him a harsh look. I was in no mood to play banter. He slid closer and put his hand on my arm. I'm here if you need me. I know, thank you. Smile, put your head on his shoulder, stop touching me. Let's just put our head on his shoulder, why not? I exhaled a deep breath and seemed to melt, fitting my head on his shoulder, lending some of my weight. It felt nice to have someone holding me up. Haron's arm wrapped around me fully. His chest swelled with pride, I thought. We've seen stranger things, haven't we, brother? Not really. We'll hear what Garlois has to say and decide what to do from there. He isn't going to kill her, not right away. The city is in love with her. This incident at the docks may seem like a threat, but you know our people, friends. We are not afraid of loss if that is the cost of power. I can't remember how to do Dollier's voice. Oh dear. That's not a good sign. And if they believe she did that, then they also believe her to be powerful. We anxiously waited for Garloy's next move. We knew it was coming, and we thought it would come any minute. Such that it finally did, many hours later. We were confused, even perhaps especially Dullier. It was merely a summons. I was to arrive at the Gallian castle the following evening. And just like that, I was bid goodnight. Though I was not simply going to rest easy. I tried to fall asleep, but my thoughts would not release me. I couldn't bear it for long, and found myself wandering the halls. I came upon the sound of voices as I neared the dining room, and moved close, keeping quiet. I wasn't sure why I felt the need to eavesdrop in secret, but I found myself doing it regardless. More room for subterfuge living in the forest with Vanya than may readily be believed, and my brain is just not functioning again. It's just gone. Woo! So I wasn't entirely bad at it. I hadn't thought of Vanya in a while. She felt far, far away. She was. For all your Bewana tricks, Onyx Chandler. If you keep yelling at me, I'm going to have to ask you to leave, Haron. Not a Bewana chance. I'm not leaving. What is Bewana? I don't know what that word means. Oh, how uselessly bold. Do you think you're rescuing her from someone? What a ridiculous narrative you keep in your head. Less a rescue and more waiting in the wings for her call. It's only a matter of time until you've tried your luck one time too many, and then I'm going to help her kill you. Oh dear. Dullier snorted. It is admittedly mildly disturbing to receive death threats from Ernol's baby brother. My brother will forgive me. Don't think you've managed to coil your way in between that, Dullier. There was a brief silence, and I became aware of my pounding heart. Haron sounded so utterly murderous, and I felt as though I had stumbled on something that had been thus far kept hidden from me. You're so young, and yet still too old for tantrums. Still, Ernol said you were passionate, didn't he? Don't patronize me, you ancient Genia. I don't know what that means. Merla. I don't know what that means. I guess I was assembling a list of Gallian insults. Yep. That's probably what those words are. Well, I'd love to keep exchanging insults with you, but Mavis seems to be having trouble sleeping. Silence. I was surprised. I quickly took stock of myself, certain I was hidden, and then I heard Dullier's voice, now closer to where I hid even. Mavis? Confused but seemingly defeated, I stepped into view. Yep, I was just there, hiding. Dullier looked just as bewildered as I did, which I found to be a moderate comfort. What's going on? Yeah, what is going on? Oh, Haron, this is hardly beneficial to her. Hasn't she enough enemies? You needn't fabricate any more. So careless your tongue. For an elfling in your line of training. Yeah, I don't remember how to do Dullier's voice. It's just sort of gone from my abilities, which is it's not a good thing, but oh well. I am not at all careless with my accusations, Dullier. This isn't anything new. I believe Mavis knows I distrust you. She should distrust us all. She should distrust us all. I have never lied to her. Dullier snorted. I was growing more suspicious. You said something about tricks, Haron. Everything Dullier says is likely enough to be a trick, so much that it is painful to hear him talk. Painful to think that he may succeed in weaving blatant lies. And yet he offers no examples of tricks or lies. Haran narrowed his eyes. I will give evidence when I need to. You have evidence? No, not yet. Delay snorted again. Mavis, you really shouldn't try and rest. I realise it is a lofty request, but between Garlois and the Cuthintal, there is no telling what you will be able to when you will be able to sleep next. Haran looked mildly crestfallen. His shoulders bowed inward. Or bowed inward? I don't know. That's true, Madrelise. Please, try to rest if you can. I wish you the sweetest of dreams. If there is anything I can do to make that sweeter, or make them sweeter even, I'll see you out, Haran. Yeah, he's not letting Haran stay with us. I found myself back in the bedroom. It wasn't long before I collapsed onto my bed in resignation. Attempting to get any sleep seemed a useless effort, but there was nothing else to do. All I could do was wait. Hours passed. It seemed the night would never end. It was useless, one corrupt thought after the next. I could still feel the heat of the fires on my skin, and I was almost certain that faintly, very faintly, the echoing sound still rang in my head. Garlois, and what judgment he'd pass on me, was almost released of my feverish concerns. Whatever happened, if I had done it, if a Cuthintal had, it was without intention on my behalf, and that was sufficiently disturbing a thought all on its own. No sleep. No. Sleep was not coming. A knock jostled me upwards. Despite the gentleness of it, I felt a certain trepidation. I slid out of bed. This house wasn't any more at rest than I was, it seemed. In my gut, I knew who was waiting on the other side of the door. Strangely, I was expecting them, though I couldn't explain how. It's either Ernol, Lacey, Haran, Vaden, Dulé, or Vanya. Why would it be Vanya of all things? That doesn't really make any sense. I can't remember who I chose. I think first time I just chose Ernol. But since we're going with the whole Haran side of things, let's just go with Haran. Madrelise? Madrelise, are you awake? I stared at the door. Momentarily perplexed, Haran sounded so pleased, as though he were drunk at a party. Let me in, quickly. I don't want that blonde snake to catch wind of this if it can be helped. Definitely let him in. It's Haran, we gotta let him in. I moved to the door and opened it, ready for whatever dishevelled state Haran was surely to be in. Nope, seems just fine. But upon opening the door, I was met with a smile that didn't quite meet the jovial voice. He was intent, focused, serious, perhaps a little nervous. Is everything all right? Oh, yes. I think I've finally found the answer. To what? The Cuthintal? The Grand General? To all of it, Madrelise. To all that plagues you. To all that plagues us. I didn't know what to say. I should have felt excitement, relief, some sort of happiness. But instead I only felt concern. There was something strange in the air, perfume of a sort that trickled bizarre memories. Haran? He stared at me, intense, serious, nervous. Are you sure everything is alright? There's nothing wrong? No, Madrelise. There is nothing wrong. Come. He held out his hand. I took it. You know that I love you, don't you? I stared at him and thought he was behaving so bizarrely. Oh, look at that little bit of purple there. It's obvious that this has something to do with the Cuthintal. I know how to strip the Cuthintal from you. I wish there was a more comfortable way, but it will only be unpleasant for a moment. I stilled. Fear was taking hold of me. What are you talking about? It will give you an upset stomach for a week or so, I hear. He presented a pouch eerily similar to a pouch of a Cuthintal that Cuthintal was in. Just swallow a pinch of this, and the Cuthintal within you will die. Wait, what? Really? Yes, quickly now. If Dollier gets wind of this, he will do all he can to stop us. He pinched some powder between his fingers and brought his fingers near my lips. Something tells me that this is poison. Wait, I need to give this some thought. There's no time, Mavis. Before I could stop him, a bitter taste was in my mouth. I spat some of the powder out instinctually and shot Harren a betrayed look as I backed away from him. He smiled, apologetic. I'm sorry. As I tried to make sense of what just happened and what was going to happen, I began to grow dizzy. Eventually I sunk to the floor, the dizziness so intense that I could no longer stand. Marjorie? His voice echoed from every direction. Mavis! Sharp pain began to stab at my throat. My eyes began to burn. My mouth was pooling with blood. No, Mavis. No. Did we seriously just die? Nope, we're still alive, apparently. I shivered and sweat. My forehead was wet, my chest hot. A rapid knocking came from my bedroom door. Marjorie? That was literally just a nightmare. Don't know if anyone realised that, but that was just a nightmare. Very vivid nightmare. He sounded a little concerned, a far cry from as panicked as he'd sounded before. Still, I jolted upright, my heart was racing, and I sat still, tense and dazed. I was alive? I'd survived? No, that wasn't it. The doorknob twisted, and Harren poked his head through, beaming one of his disarming smiles at me when he saw me awake. Ugh. I suppose I'll forgive your ignoring me in exchange for your forgiveness in my uncouth trespass. Okay. Only after closing the door behind him and travelling deeper into the room did his face betray concern. Are you alright? I was slow to responding. I'd realised it was a dream by then, but it was taking me some time to shake off the experience. I got out of bed slowly, feeling and no doubt looking a little dazed. When he reached for me, as though to help me keep my balance, I waved him off. It was difficult to shake my memories of that dream. I'd never had a dream like that before. Oh? Disturbed by it, or in awe, or perhaps a little of both? No, it wasn't pleasant. In my sympathies, Marjorie, I would ensure you had nothing but pleasant dreams if I could. Maybe one day I can. Tell me about it. The dream I was in it? You killed me? He quickly deflated, eyes widening in horror, anger perhaps, at his role in my dream. Say nothing. I didn't say anything. I only looked to the window and stared at the morning light. He sighed heavily. Harren clicked his tongue in annoyance. The Golden Weasel has decreed it is time for another meeting. He held out his hand and smiled. Trust me? What? Trust that I would no sooner hurt you than my brother, myself, I know it was just a dream, Harren. A dream is sometimes all it takes. If you're worried I'll hate you because of a dream, I'm worried you'll never trust me because of a dream. A silence fell between us. I couldn't bring myself to say anything. My mind was still reeling from the peculiar dream I'd had. In all my life, I'd never had one so vivid. Couldn't have just been a coincidence. The Cuthintal, surely. He stayed there staring at me, hand outstretched, and I eventually took it. this seemed to be enough for him as he exhaled in relief. Ready? And that is where I'm going to end this episode. I need to... no, wrong buttons. Save real quick. Are we seriously still on that same chapter? Okay, whatever. That is going to do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed this one. We have definitely chosen now Haron as our love interest. How romantic and such. But please like and subscribe. It's always free. And on your way out, give the notification bell a little ding. YouTube's not good at recommending content at all. And yeah, I'll see you later.